Again on a size 10.
Going to fish tech this afternoon, so I'm going to spend probably $200 on materials.
Well, say hi to Mickey for me.
I will. And Sam.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to see Sam today.
Yeah, he's there.
I've known Mickey Anderson since I was about 5 years old, so he's a good guy. My dad was the head guide for anglers and before they went out of business. And Gene Snow, all those guys were the guys that taught me. So. All right, so the Lincoln log, again, it's a size 10 hook. You can use brown or black. You can get away with black. I'm tying it with black. Again, it's the same look as far as attaching the thread. We want it 3/4 of the way back on the end of the shank. The next move is to kind of size up your body. So notice the reason why I buy these big ones is because you can make bigger smaller. You can't make smaller bigger. So I always go the big ones. Usually what I do to kind of size it up is I take the eye of the hook and I match it even with the brown to white line. Okay. As far as the length, you can see where my finger is. Again, it's probably plus 1/4 inch off the end of the hook. Usually to kind of do that, to measure it out, if you just pinch down on that body, it'll show you the little grooves on where you want to trim it. I trim it to a real simple point, just to make it a little more ant body shape. And again, I hit it with a little lighter, round out that body just a little bit.
Lighter and super glue today.
Again, it's, the lighter's not a necessary process. It just kind of rounds it out a little bit more versus, having those clear cut edges. Just kind of rounds it out a little bit. It's not sealing anything that's going to absorb water or anything. So
Probably makes it a little more durable too.
I would think so, yeah. Yep. This Lincoln log, this fly works well for us in the fall, late summer, fall. I've also fished it during the cicadas in black, slender bodied. Sometimes they get so used to seeing that thicker bodied bug that eventually just that silhouette legs coming over them works pretty well. It also works great in brown as a crane fly pattern. So it's kind of one of my go-to if I see crane flies on the water, just a leggy ant, whether it be a Chernobyl or a sailor ant style. The reason why they call it sailor ant is because it has the white top, almost like the sailor's cap. So you can see I have it extended off the end of the body.
You see crane flies very often anymore. Back in the old days, they were always on the river.
That was, and then we had higher water flows. That's when we see them. So the last few years we've had a little higher water. We see quite a few of them. I tell you where there is a ton of them is at Jones Hole. There is a ton of crane fly. And so that's kind of one of my go-to patterns. I don't know if you're familiar with the bug, a fat Albert, but a fat Albert's another really good, it looks like a grasshopper, but boy, they like it during crane flies too. It's just the kicking legs. You want those longer legs on them. Plus, every time you catch a fish on, you say, hey, hey, hey. Yeah. You catch a fish, a fat Albert, the actual person, Fat Albert, was a hey, hey, hey. That was the same.
Yeah, he's a bad word now.
Yep. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of getting the This is the pumpkin color legs. You see I got them a little bit wet and they want to stick together. It helps kind of keep them together as you tie them. I usually measure it to the end of the point. Simple wrap. Trim.
Keep your fingers behind the flag, please.
I'll try as much as I can, Dave.
Well, I do have a camera on their chest, so it's you know, a lot of the videos of the main camera. I get a little, get used to it. I mean, if I'm sitting right in front of them, I'm here. Focus, focus, focus. Focus. Yes.
Okay, so again, you see you have that kind of double splayed leg. The next thing I do is I'm attaching an oversized hackle, whether it be a brown grizzly, brown will work. I like the grizzly just because it adds a little more segmentation to it. I usually strip it. Give myself a little 1/4 inch piece. Attach it. Not a necessary part, but you can put a little tiny dab of super glue in there. Then I'm just wrapping this in between all those rubber legs.
Did you super glue the log to the hook?
I have not yet, so that's why you see it spinning a little bit. Usually just a couple wraps with the hackle. Notice how I made it around twice. Holding the hackle, and I'll strip it again. So when I bring it all the way around, we'll have this nice unfeathered piece to tie onto. I pull it up and I wrap that around the hook right in the middle. Then you can bring the thread right over the top, and you're usually in pretty good shape.
Neat trick. Yeah, I like that.
So basically, that's the back end of the bug. The front end's going to be the same exact segments. It's going to be legs, then hackle. I bring it forward, just like the cicada, until I have about a 1/4 inch left. I tie it down, and you have quite a bit of eye exposure on this hook, on this fly. And that's okay. You want it to sit up a little bit like that. It's okay to have that nice long head on it. If you can't see that head on that fly, a fish will eat it, you'll never see it. It's a low riding bug. One of the last moves I do on this is I actually trim the hackles flat on the bottom just to keep it from flipping over. So just kind of keel it out. So again, I'm just going to do some leg segments here. And this is basically the same way I tie a Chernobyl ant, just minus the hackle. It'd be more on a square body, just like the cicada, just a strip of foam.
There's only about 3,000 ways to tie
A Chernobyl ant. Yeah. There's only about 3,000 guys that invented the Chernobyl ant too. I stick by the one I know, Emmett Heath. We call him the Dean of the Green. He was 1996 Fly Rod and Reel Guide of the Year. And there's stories about him and a guy named Alan Woolley. Alan Woolley works for Western Rivers Fly Fisher in Salt Lake, and
now it's Zion's Bank and Idaho Falls.
that's right. Really nice guy. And the story was that they.
But you don't get him near your Crown Royal.
No, you don't. The story was that him and Emmett were trying to tie larger attractor patterns, and Alan came up with the Chernobyl, and Emmett kind of made the comment of, "Oh, that looks like it's from Chernobyl." And that's
Dennis claims to have been there.
I know. Yeah, well, they're all good friends though. Those guys are.
Did Alan actually start the Chernobyl?
I would say Alan Woolley was the first guy, to my knowledge, and Jack Dennis and Emmett. Yeah, there's Jack Dennis has a spot on the B section that we call Jack's Stack, which was a cover shot for a mid-90s fly rod and reel magazine cover. And it's Emmett Heath up on top of a cliff spotting fish for Jack Dennis, and Jack Dennis is down below. It's a really cool shot. Really cool shot. So again, I have that strip tackle. Bring it around once. Strip it down. Bring it all the way around. Now here's a different way to tie it off. You could actually take that strip piece of hackle and wrap the line right around it.
Do they do that same hackle trick that you're doing right there with the triple double?
Yes.
That would make that a little easier to tie.
Yes, which is a really tough line to tie, but you saw how I just kind of wound them together. And I wrap it back. Yeah, I'd say that's the ticket to not getting too thick on the triple double. It's just kind of just winding them around each other. I pull the head back.
Using the saddle hackle and strip it along a second, and then just wrapping it all the way up to the next piece, and use the same.
Yep.
Without having hackle.
Yeah, I'm pretty much only use saddle hackles. I like the saddle hackle. I should say I use saddle hackles for all my big guys. When you get down to that smaller stuff, that's when you break out the gauge, and you want to use more of a cape. But trim that flat. Again, just kind of get the legs so they're all similar length. And then the last move on this one, notice how that hackle's down low. Because I just trim it flat right along the bottom. That keeps it from flipping over. And if you want to, you could always add a little bit of glue over the knot at the end.